So the Steam store page, which is of course in preview, it's not for sale yet, but the Steam store page, the footprint for the page is live now, as is the teaser video. The same teaser video that's in the Steam store page is now also on YouTube. Subscribers probably saw that notification go out about 5 or 10 minutes ago for a new video. It's a minute 13 seconds. In that is a link to the Steam store page, or you can just go to Steam and look for Knucklecracker, or just search for Creeper World IXE, and you get the store page where you can wish list it. Which people every day ask me, how can I help? Is there anything I can do to help? And yes, you can wish list the game. That's currency in Steam money. Wish listing means a lot to in the Steam ecosystem. Anyway, I'm gonna play a little bit today for this alpha that I have here, and I have 5 missions that are stuck in here, and the first 3 have been seen in one form or another, and then the other ones are new things that I did to take some screenshots and to test some things. Um, just checking the comments here. You are Karsten75. That's the guy on the right, and I'm Knucklecracker. The guy on the left, I think, is the screen mirroring. I think I'm on the left. I'm on the left. This is me, Knucklecracker.
You're on my left. Okay, this is me. I'm K75. Wow, the lag on the stream is incredible.
Is it? I switched it to the lower latency.
In fact, I don't. Yeah, there we go. It's like at least 10 seconds. I just waved.
Okay. All right. So you're going to
Somebody
be.
wanting to know who's who. That's silly.
I'll say. So I have to speak. We have to do this deal again where I compensate by 10 seconds from reality. All right. So I have not. These are not play tested missions. These are just test missions, right? So this might be horrible. I drew some of this stuff, changed a little bit of it this morning, and I'm gonna play it now. So up here at the top is a bunch of creeper that's gonna come streaming down. And I'm gonna start right here in the middle and try to survive what's going to happen. So for folks unfamiliar with this is Creeper World game, Creeper simulation, which is a fluid, which is bad. Blue fluid bad. Avoid it. Destroy it. Your ships don't want to touch it. The environment this time around is every pixel is simulated, and there are many different types. You can think of it as sand physics married with creeper fluid physics, and there's some particle physics also thrown in as well. So let's just begin. I'm gonna try to start. That's probably a bad spot to start in. And you know what? I'm gonna have to cheat already. This isn't the mission I meant. So I'm gonna give myself a couple of these guys. Yeah, sure. Um, um, the economy is in development and flux right now. So I'm gonna build a couple of these guys, and I should only build one to start with. So I'm testing different ways of bootstrapping the game, providing constraints, and in the next few weeks, there's going to be some new and interesting things show up in terms of how energy is generated. Right now, you just build these things and they generate your spawn energy. That's why I needed to add a couple. I forgot I never added them in on this mission. So I just brought up the editor and took care of that. So I'm gonna pause it right now. So now we're producing +3 on the spawn energy, so I can build things quicker. So question is what to build, because this creeper's gonna, if you'll notice up here, this stuff's on fire. This material here, it's burning. It's going to erode, which is going to let this stuff flood down. So probably going to need some stuff that can shoot, and maybe I can build some of these guys. These guys, remember I said the economy's in flux right now. These guys just produce anti-creeper, which this little maker ship, or this ship that's got a maker module on it, Great. This stuff it just blew up one of my beacons over here. These beacons light up the area. It's the area that I can operate in. And it's burning through here a lot faster than I want. You know what? I need to build these and do this. I'm going to switch them to dump, which means don't shoot the anti-creeper. Just get rid of it. Just dump the tanks and see if I can build up a buffer of anti-creeper in here. And maybe some more ships. Let's build these over here. Oh, I can build one more of these. Not that it's going to live, but how about another one? Oh gosh, look, it's burning here. It's burning through this already, and here it comes. Stuff already. Mm. By the way, K75, I just muted your stream, so people won't be able to hear you because of your yard guy. Great. So, you know what? I'm being a fool. I could kill this guy here. Come on, get built, get charged. Oh no, no, no. Bad. There, oh, I'm gonna blame your yard guy. He distracted me. Not yet. I think he's using a weed eater, and I'm. Okay, you're back now.
Okay.
You
You
know
should
what?
let professionals play the game.
I'm so toasted. Look at this. This is just
You
ridiculous.
should you should let me play the game, not you.
Yeah, I should. You know, if I had built this nullifier quicker, I could have
You
taken
would
that
have been
emitter out.
okay.
And
Okay, well try again. Now you're dead.
yeah, yeah, one last little pop. Yeah,
Can I
great.
take it that you just made these missions but you didn't play test them,
That's
or did
right.
you actually test them?
No, no, they were made to take some images and to test certain mechanics, and it should be tweaked a little bit. Maybe another weapon, maybe a little bit longer delay, maybe a shield here or there, a place to retreat to. Well, that's a good idea. Maybe I could come
I,
in
I like
quickly.
I like the comment that Goldhelm made on YouTube, that X is a Portuguese word for mistake.
Is it okay? Cool.
I'll ask my wife.
It's a creep roll mistake. That's awesome. uh, okay. All right. So the other option here is to just retreat over here. When I made this mission, I was thinking, well, maybe that's an option. I don't know. I'm not even obviously I haven't tried it, but hold over here and then fight your way out. But there's not a lot to fight out with. I'm gonna try. I'm gonna try that the same strategy just executed more carefully, maybe.
Okay.
So I have to give myself these to start with. Um, the All right, I just muted you again. I think you're getting the blower is going now. Okay, okay. So this inventory business down here right now, you have these slots and you can move things around. So I'm gonna move things around like this. So these guys are down here because I'll probably have to rebuild them. Let's go. You and you. Let's try that. And then I'm gonna build another one immediately as soon as the first one finishes. Don't get attached to this mechanic. It's just the way it is right now to test out queuing and delays. in the initial game. All right, now I'm going to, as soon as he's done, I'm going to pause it and think for just a minute. So all this stuff that's burned down from the top here, it came in here first. So this is the first problem. I know I'm going to need to have a nullifier ready to take this guy out when he falls down. You know, I could. That would mean building one of these guys and these guys. They all have lathes on them. And all right, almost. Let's open this menu. As soon as your blower guy's gone, I'll unmute you. Um, okay. All right, I muted you. Um,
Okay,
so
so you're gonna build a shield at the top there, right?
I could do something like this, right? I don't know if it'll all get built,
No,
but
that's too big a shield. Just build where the
you
gold
just want me
stuff
to
is.
contain it
Yeah, then you can fire up into it,
okay,
and it takes too long to build a big shield like that.
like this,
Oh, well, okay, fine. If that's what works for you.
this sort
And
of
put a
thing.
ship in there and put some anti-creeper if you have to build a big shield like
Well,
that.
what we'll need is this guy to because I want to kill the emitter and then buy time to
Where,
survive.
well, where is the emitter?
He is he's sitting right here just in the darkness.
Okay,
This
all
guy
right.
right
Well,
here bouncing around.
then build a shield so that there's a space for between the two shields for the emitter, for the nullifier.
I think this will work. I think the nullifier can go right here. Actually, you know
Okay.
what? Yeah, as soon as the he falls down, it's just going to be a matter of this being thick enough because it's going to fill up. The creeper's going to come through before the emitter does. All of this wood has to burn out of the way before the. Okay.
What is that golden stuff? I forget the names for the various things. Hover
Oh,
over it. Let me see
oh,
the
this
name.
stuff is actually. I just called it wood right now.
Wood.
Yeah, because it burns because it's reactable. Um, Let me turn these guys so that we get some stuff going here to get a pool. One thing I have noticed in another map I was testing is you can build up a pool of anti-creeper, of course, and then hide in it. It'll buy you a little bit of time. It's kind of like a shield. If you just build a swimming pool of it, your ships can dive into it to
Hmm.
survive an initial wave that may overwhelm them. You know what? I don't have the big ship built, the most important of all the ships. Somebody wants to know about visibility and all that. Yeah. Of course, there'll be lots of little
Tweaks.
extra stuff that comes in over here. I'm gonna pause it right fast just to talk about that. So creeper visibility you can already turn off, but this area outside of the powered areas just they were there, they went away, and they just came back again. So don't worry, visibility is always a mid to late game development concern. In fact, I a lot of times end up making the game uglier just so that I can make it more playable. Information is important. And so, yeah, you definitely want to be able to highlight the enemies or see where they are, especially on the map, mini map, or directly in the view here. Okay, so here we go. Party starting. If he'll just, you know what? There we go. Oh, I forgot. She wasn't fine. You know what? It worked.
It worked. Yes, you got what you
I
wanted.
forgot that shields don't stop enemy units. So he fell right through the shield, but he happened to land right on top of this ship, and he bounced. And that held him there long enough for the nullify. That's a strategy I had not considered before.
Something behind you. Watch behind you.
Yeah, I know. This is going to get ugly fast. Let's switch these guys to just regular firing. So you're like, so what hope do you have here? The only hope I have is for
Was
this.
there only that one emitter?
No, there's some others. There's one up here, and there's another one I think that's probably fallen all the way over here.
You have no hope,
I
yeah.
have no hope of staying here, but I do have a hope of evacuating to the surface now. But it has to be lit in order to do that, which is going to be a problem. I should have done this. This is what I need this excavator. I cannot let my main ship.
Hey, they're asking that you lower the sound effects volumes.
This. I knew there was something I was going to forget. So I want me to go here and like turn it way down, right? Maybe that's better. Come on, come on, come on. Repair. This ship's got to repair before he can dispatch packets. There we go.
I'm going to answer one of the questions that's been asked on the YouTube channel. They asked if the equipment on each type ship is fixed. Yeah, the map maker defines what goes on the ships and what ships are available, but you can customize and build any type of ship that you put in the mission. That's correct. That's the idea at the
That
moment,
that
right?
is
You
certainly
can't
the
just
idea at the moment. Yeah.
choose because you could. The game has enormous customizability, and everybody can make a ship with different weapons. So we don't want you to play somebody else's map with your super weapon. You can play your map with your super weapon, but you can't play somebody else's map with a one-shot victory type weapon.
Right. Now in the course of the story missions, which are going to be a little more expansive than in previous games, there's sort of a meta game where over time as you explore this set of worlds, level up in experience and find things, your ships get things added to them. What I'm not doing currently for core gameplay is a system where you click on a ship and then can reconfigure it. And I'll talk a little bit more about that in a minute. Why one might do that and why one might not do that. It's got to do, I think, with the intent of the game and the form factor, how much time a given mission is supposed to fit into. I'm not saying I'm not going to do that. Remember, in Particle Fleet, I did a system like that. It was at the beginning of the mission, and people came along later and did some custom scripting to kind of do it mid-mission. All right, so I did escape here, barely. I,
Yeah, I
I, I
noticed.
lost my
Good
ship,
job.
but I managed to get the beacon built right here and get another beacon built up here, and then make it to the surface. Um, it was expensive. There's there's no penalty experience wise right now to losing things because I'm not done with the experience system. But it's okay. Um, Whatever the case, I can get up here and eliminate this guy if he doesn't fall off the cliff before I get built. Oh, I'm back to starving myself because I lost all of my infrastructure. We want him to get built. So this idea in a mission is not a bad one. This of starting below and there's a threat, you somehow have to survive it and then escape and then exact retribution. So that's not a generally bad mechanic. I may use that in one or more missions. This one was sort of randomly generated. This uh, terrain. All right, let's like did you build using a Perlin worm algorithm to, and then I came along and added some manual routes and some caverns. Okay, you're almost ready. Move him in range. He's just about to fall off the cliff, but he'll never get the chance. He's done. So the surface is clean. Then the question becomes, where do they go? One of them's here. Yeah, I know that. I think that's where the other one is. So no problem, right? We just need to finish building these guys. Then we can move them. Rebuild our big ship. Reconstitute the fleet as it is. Oh, I need this in order to make anti-creeper.
Wow, those things go over the terrain? That's interesting. They shoot over the terrain.
What's that?
Those two little ships at the top there.
You talking about these here?
Yeah, they were shooting over the terrain to hit the creeper.
Oh, those are lathes. Lathes go through. Yeah, so if I was digging.
Were they digging? I
Yeah.
thought they were shooting at something. Okay, fair enough. Digging is different.
Okay, so now I'm forgetting this guy again. I always need to have one of these built just in reserve, because this guy's in a nice spot. Let's go ahead and move him in. He'll need to arm, but he can arm in place. There's a shield down here that they're trying to rebuild. That's what they're taking little shots at. They can't do it while there's creeper there.
Oh, is that shield you bought earlier?
Right. Yeah, I don't need to rebuild it. It's I can erase it.
To forget. Yeah.
And I can use the one visibility option I have right now to turn off the creeper. All right, there is no end mission mechanic right now, so don't look for that. It's in our heads, which is... The reason there's not is because this game's not quite as simple as kill the emitters, you're done, figure out how to escape, you're done, collect survival pods and info messages, you're done. Sometimes you decide when you're done, in that there's one or more objectives on the map, info caches, resources that you're picking up, things you can get for experience. You might or might not be equipped to do them all, but you could do some of them or one of them, and then you come back to this world later in the state that it's in. That's how the story mechanic is intended to work.
Hey, there are two questions on the YouTube channel, one for you and one I'll answer. Somebody's asking, what is the gas that floats up the map? And I forgot what you call that.
Oh, this stuff?
Yes.
This stuff here? Well, they're all sand. You can just think of them as sand particles. It's part of the sand physics engine that I wrote. So they're all the same thing. And there are up to 256 different types. Well, 255 types of them. And some of them are used primarily for visual effects or very slight game mechanics. So this creeper, as it's evaporating, whenever it evaporates, it creates a sand particle that moves upward and has a finite lifetime. And sometimes it can collide with other particles and stop them from falling. So you can think of it like creeper steam or creeper mist in the other games.
Creeper suit.
Yeah, but before I leave this mission, while we're here, I can just show you in the editor these are some of the types that I have built in right now. So for instance, let's put some of that wood back. So I select wood. I'll show you what wood is here in a second, what defines it, and then make like
a little tree, since it's wood.
A tree, and then let's burn it down by dropping some embers on top of it. Set it on fire. And same thing, it's a fire spreading mechanic, consumes the wood, it releases some smoke as it goes, and throws off embers that catch other things on fire, and off it goes. Let me pause it for a minute though, and because there's also another type of water, spread some of that around to try to put it out before it completely burned away. So water and embers react in a certain way. There's some lava right here. So if I put that water, let's go back to water. The water touches the water turns into steam, and the lava turns into another type called stone. You can always see what I'm pointing at down here in the bottom right. So I'm pointing land and stone is there now. So put a bunch of water, all that lava is now gone, and it's replaced with stone. Stone is kind of like land, but it flows. So if I just cut a hole here, you can see that stone fall out and flood down here. Since we're done with this mission, let's turn light on everywhere. So now we can see these mechanics. If you're interested in making your own maps, for instance, there's nothing intrinsic about wood or sand or stone or land and all that. They're simply defined in these slots. So if you look at land, which is this stuff right here, the stuff most of the map is made out of, it doesn't fall. You can't move on top of it. It doesn't really react with anything. You can dig it. You can, if you've got things nearby, you can terraform it.
Okay, just before you go on
Yeah.
with the Zoom, I see it again, and somebody asked a why question, one of those that I would answer just because this is how we made the game, but they ask why can the things dig across solid terrain? And it's just
Sure.
that's the way it was designed, right?
Sure. Well, the short answer is I tried it both ways, and I like this way better. So if you're asking why isn't line of sight required for excavation, it's because it makes it a lot more difficult to dig. Now, you might like that. And I'm not saying that there might not even be an option, and you certainly could make a custom lathe that requires line of sight. No problem at all to do that. But if you want to dig that pattern right there, you can't do it if it requires line of sight. It can't be done because this wouldn't dig. You would have to dig a much bigger area in order to make a trap like that. So it is, the primary constraint is range right now. That doesn't mean that all terrain types might allow the passage of a lathe. There might be a terrain type that does occlude lathe line of sight. So instead of just not and on in occluding line of sight, it might be a special type of terrain that does. That might make sense.
Okay.
That would all be defined in here. There's all these slots, and if I go to wood, for instance, and pick wood, its name is wood. It's built-in simulators. You want it to be rock, which means it doesn't move. Sand, which means it falls but piles up. A liquid, so it just keeps flowing, or a gas that moves up. Color options. So,
Right.
yeah, go ahead.
No, that's fine. It's great. I mean, I like all the stuff that you've done.
Yeah, I'll just show you right quick before I leave and go do another mission. If I put some of that wood right here, right, and then if I go back to the slot for wood, and if I change its color mode, say to fixed, that means just use the first color. So now it's like that. If I change it to texture, it means use the background texture that the land uses. Blend takes these two colors and smoothly lerps between them. A, B, or flickers
Oof.
randomly. That's good for fire and other special effects, though, or things you need to be animated. A, B means one or the other, randomly, right? Pick color one or color two. Don't lerp between them. Don't interpolate between them. Just pick one or the other. And then checker is the checker pattern. So I may add more of these, like lines, vertical and horizontal, and various dithering patterns, so that you can do different.
You
effects.
you remember the rule? You only add the stuff that you're actually using, right? You're not just gonna
That's true.
do what you did for People World 4
Right.
and add 5,000 different
Anytime there's an option.
cliff options that nobody has used in the 2 years ago. So,
Right. Yeah.
so you can't add something if you don't use it.
So here's glow. All right. If you want to blow out and make things really go
That's
insane.
bright. That's bright.
Yeah. Yeah, it just goes on and on and on, right? It's a multiplier for the color channel, and
Does it keep spreading? It
up to a limit. I don't know what the max is, but yeah, that's beyond that. It's got to do with the shader After Effects the screen effects. Um, Anything that goes into the HDR range tends to create a bloom effect. So it's a shader that
Mhm.
operates on the screen after it's rendered. That's how it
Mhm.
overlays the other colors. So go back to 0 or just regular wood. Um, there's other visual options and things in here. There's time to live, like this little smoke that flies up has a finite lifetime. When there's an upper and a lower, it means a range. So like a random number of frames, stuff like that. You can make it so that creeper can or can't flow over it. Here's one I like. Um, so if I let's make a chamber. Let's just excavate. I'm holding down shift while I paint, and that just removes whatever's there. So if I make a chamber and then sure, let's put some wood. We'll just use it as our experimental stuff. And then if I put creeper on top of that, it flows up. That's just because that's what I like the default to be. Whenever creeper finds itself on sand, it likes to go up, which is the direction opposite of the default gravity. But you don't have to do that. That's of course defined right here on we're back on editing wood. Gravity 10,000 in the positive direction, which means up. So if I said 5,000 to the right and 0 up, and then I come back and paint some creeper, it gets pushed to the right. And there's still gravity on the world, so it gets pulled down as well. But you can create interesting little puzzle mechanics by moving the creeper around, by allowing it to flow over terrain that also pushes. There's also fields in the game that don't have a visual footprint, but sand can also carry with it field mechanics. So I don't know. I just found that one interesting. That's one that just sort of fell out of the code one day. And I'm like, oh yeah, I can do that. So
Yeah, I remember the day you were sitting here finding that.
yeah, you got all these other options here. Whether it's shield, max health, whether it can move through liquids, the spread rate, whether it cools things that are on fire, on and on. And there's probably going to be more. And custom map makers can make 0 through 254.
Okay. Seeing that you have a much bigger audience than any of the previous what we've done, did you want to briefly go through where you with the custom units, the JSON and that stuff? Or do you want to play another mission?
I'm gonna play another mission that
Okay, cool.
I'm
Oh,
probably
you
losing.
prepared a different one. Look at that. Okay.
Yeah, this is an old mission that's had a few updates. Those updates were done yesterday. I still didn't really play it. Oh no.
To answer Corey Shelkey, yeah, there will be a procedural world
Oh
generator.
yeah, yeah. Mm.
It's just not there right now, but I think the bare bones is already. You
Yeah,
did use something to make the outlines of these worlds.
right. Yeah. So oops, I paused it. Yeah, there's a number of techniques and algorithms, fractal algorithms, simplex noise, Perlin worms, you name it, for carving out the terrain. The reason I wait just a little ways usually, let me think what I'm doing here, and then I'll talk. Is I like to get the mechanics in place that informs me better about how the missions can operate, and then go create the algorithms for randomly assembling the missions. But it's a chicken and egg sometimes. Sometimes to get the mechanics, you have to have missions to play and experiment with. So, and sometimes it's quicker to have an auto generator. Let's go in this way. So sometimes it's iterative. Sometimes I'll do something of a generator and then end up redoing it. Okay, so we can build this guy And this guy, I don't remember what I left myself. Oh, all this is decaying, and this creeper's going to come out of here. I should have
Yeah,
already,
that's what you last time you had to defend that,
yeah,
not dig in there.
I should have already been in here. And oh, this is breeder liquid down here. That's what's going on down there. Okay, what to do? What to do? Let's carve out a space here and move these guys in, and I need more space.
Hi, Lucas. Yes, the live stream was announced.
It was a bit of a wake up and decided to do it kind of thing, primarily because, in terms of the live stream, because I submitted the Steam store page for review on Monday. It takes them 2 to 3 business days to review your store page, and then depending on who you get, it gets approved or not, or you have to make some tweak to some image. Anyway, mine was approved without having to do any extra work this time, and that happened this morning, my time. And I said, "Oh well, I'm going to make that live today," which means I'm probably going to release that the teaser alpha video, the alpha teaser video, which is the one on the Steam store page, which made me think of YouTube, and then I'm like, well, I'm doing a build anyway, so why not share it with people?
Um, Somebody asked about this, and we should probably talk about it. Is that you decided to not initially release the top view game mode.
Okay, so top view means two things in my book. There is gravity turned off. That's one version of top view, as in there is not something that pulls creeper in one direction. It just is allowed to flow. Some of those missions will be in the game, and the background doesn't have to have a graphic at the top with gray area down here. It can be something that looks like stars. That's also in the game. But that's not what I mean by a top-down mission. I mean a Creeper World 3 or 4 style mission with terrain levels and rules for placement of ground units. I really mean a top-down ground game.
And where units can move over the terrain instead of pass through the terrain.
Exactly. That's a different set of mechanics, and I probably am not going to put that in the initial release of IXE. There will still be missions that look like they're in space, just because they're cool, and those mechanics are already there. And the mechanics are really just turning gravity off and changing the rules for ship movement, so that they don't just flip right left, they flip right left up and down. So that version of top down is going to be in here, and I even featured it in some of the screenshots and in the teaser, or at least I should say the intention is for it to be in the release game right now. To be careful and say that nothing nothing is for sure until beta and release, especially when I'm still in the alpha stage. But the intention is to have that version of top down. But as I move, as I go through the code, as I work on things, um, I've tried
Whatever
to,
strikes your interest.
yeah, and I've tried to reserve room for supporting top-down ground game with different terrain mechanics. The the reason it's not as interesting in a lot of cases, we can get out of here now because we're done with this stuff, is because you lose a lot of sand physics as soon as you remove yourself from a directional field. Um, the For anyone who's ever looked at sand toys or sand physics algorithms over the last 15 years, they tend to work best when things point in an orthogonal direction, up, down, right, or left. All four are the same thing, but free form movement, not so much, and no gradient, then you don't get motion like you want it. You have to simulate it in a completely different way that isn't as efficient. Okay, so this little stuff that decayed has bought me a lot of time to get in here. Let's see if we can take advantage of that and get in here. I think I can get rid of some of this stuff, make a lot more room. Get our big boy in here. Something silly like that. Light up the area. And let's try that. Let's see if we can get some shield built before it pokes through. I'm not going to quite make it. Maybe, maybe. Sure, that'll buy a little extra time.
Oh, you have a lot of anti-creeper there now, boy.
Building up a little bit, because what I really want to buy time for is for these rockets to fire in here and hit into this deeper stuff. It's in the 100s down here.
What was the strategy? We had something you dumped out of a cavern, a cavity. And
Oh, Pixilium. Yeah, that's what I meant to. That's what I should be adding back to some of these guys. You know, I don't have breeder down here. I made it a string up here, but it's a it's just another sand that flows like a liquid, but it can sit on top of breeder caverns and trap the creeper inside of them as it breeds. It doesn't let it get out, so it feels like a film on top. I think that's actually in some other missions. I just picked a mission that didn't have that in it. Okay, we're getting some shots through here. There's a breach right here. The shield's failing, but interestingly, there's enough anti-creeper up here and enough lays to kind of rebuild a lot of the shield. It's going to start to fail on a wider front. They're not going to be able to keep up, but here we go. Failure. Oh, let's turn these guys on so they do some directional shooting. If we can hold it back, hold the line. I don't know. Looking bad. Losing ground.
Shields would have been
But you know what?
nice.
All right. It's doing the. It looks like it's doing the smart thing. It's just doing the thing, right? The fluid thing, which is it's going to cut off my escape route here. I shouldn't have let that happen. So what I need to do is kind of plug it up here. Start the evacuation now. Maybe they can get through it before. They can take a little bit of damage, right? They just get out of there before it. I lost one of them.
Do you have to fight your way back in there now?
I will, one way or another, yeah. What did I lose? I lost this guy.
I would open a bigger gap there.
I will. So that was a fail. And of course,
There goes your
it
beacon.
goes dark. All that hard work. Oh, look at this. Oh, that's right. There's compressed chambers of this stuff of anti-creeper over here. There's a whole bunch in there. I should have let it out. And it's flooded the entire surface, which can come in handy.
Pity you don't have a thing that can vacuum this stuff out.
Yeah,
Hint, 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 hint.
that's on the list. Both terrain and here we go. Terrain and creeper or slash anti-creeper. Let's let some rockets do some. Well, it's too tight to get through there. It's there we go. Rockets require a 3 pixel opening to fly through, so you can't just poke a tiny little hole.
So
Shoot
rockets do. So rockets have to do more complex pathfinding than ship movement.
They do. They do, yeah. They
Is that because the range is more limited that you can afford that?
Well, afford is relative. You mean in terms of performance?
Well, there was a reason why you chose.
It
for
seemed
ships
like
to
an
make-
important game mechanic to allow some projectiles, some weapons to not be able to go through single pixel gaps. I didn't. It just seemed like an important game mechanic. That's why I did it that
Okay.
way. Now there is a computational cost. Nothing's free, but relative to everything else that's going on, it's fairly minor. Okay, so I need a better strategy than just hitting here. I'm gonna do
Yeah,
something
that's
like
where I
this,
would go there. Yeah.
so we can get some shots in on it here. I'm gonna build a
Mhm.
beacon here, line our guys up.
You really don't believe in shields, do you?
Well, they're
Oh, you're
probably.
not gonna dig through there. You're just gonna keep shooting it. Okay, there you go.
Yeah, I'm
All
gonna do
right.
this once I get
And
all
you
these
don't believe
guys.
in shields. You're gonna die, are you?
I
No.
don't. I just don't think I'm gonna need it because I won't.
Okay, there you go. You've got so much anti-creeper there.
Exactly. I want the weight of this ocean to push down. Along with combined weapons fire.
Can that big ship fire?
The big one,
Yeah.
it is armed with a single cannon on the front. So,
So it's
yes,
pretty
it can.
weak.
It's very weak, but it can barely defend itself. All right, so that initial punch from the
This is a boss.
anti-creeper.
Oh, can you get physics-based chunks? Physics-based chunks. I'm not sure. He says a stalactite falling.
No, I know what he means. So yes and no. In so let me just pause the game here for a second and do something out of game. So objects support physics. Physics 2D physics is in the game. So if I put one of these guys, right, this is going to get collected. But if I put that guy there,
Oh,
and
it's gonna fall.
it's going to fall. It's going to immediately end. It's going to roll, and it's doing proper collision with the terrain on a pixel level accuracy. So that's in the game, and I've taken the trouble to do that, and all of the dynamic colliders it takes to go with it. What the person is asking about is pieces of the geometry, pieces of the terrain, once they are separated, dynamically creating a collider and then interacting with the physics system. So some games, Noita does this, and some other games will dynamically create polygonal shape.
I think you should draw people's attention to those anti-creeper waves. They're so pretty.
Yeah, they have a certain pixel beauty to them. It's neat, and anti creeper is a lot more sort of subdued in background. The creeper looks neater when they have higher contrasting colors, which someone will ask, are the colors going to be customizable in this game? And yes, there's nothing that stops me this time around from doing that. There's no shader tricks that are using color channels. for creeper information. So that said, people always think it's so easy to change the color. If you look at this creeper or this anti-creeper, there isn't one color here. There's ranges of colors. So you can't just pick a color. Well, you can, and then I sort of pick the other ones for you, but it's not. It's never as simple as you think it is to just change the color or something and have it come out looking cool. Anyway, on the dynamic physics shapes, maybe the most of the time in this game, you don't want it. The reason you don't want it is because you don't want all of the terrain and everything constantly collapsing down. It's bad when you dig. You don't want the terrain above it to fall down. You don't want it acting like real terrain. You want it to invisibly be hanging in the air. That's better for gameplay in 99 out of 100 cases. There are some cases where you might want it to dynamically fall, act as a chunk, not just as individual sand particles. So that's why it's a yes and no. Yes, it can be done, and yes, the physics system is there, and yes, it's already being done for discrete objects. Will I dynamically create those from chunks of terrain? Maybe, maybe not. I just can't say yet. It's really all got to do with whether it's good for the gameplay. But, all right, so at last, returned. A little MacArthur deal here, right? He the one that said, "I shall return," and he got run out of the Philippines.
Well, Arnold Schwarzenegger said it too.
Oh, I'll be back. Did you see that 3-part Arnold on Netflix? That's
No,
a little series.
I did not.
Yeah, interesting guy. I mean, we've all known him from his movies and as the governor of California, but
And as a bodybuilder.
and of course, first as a bodybuilder, but not just a bodybuilder. I mean, arguably one of the most successful of all time. Um, but yeah,
Well, it's a toss-up between him and Jesse Ventura, right? Didn't Jesse become the governor of Arkansas or somewhere?
it was Minnesota, maybe it wasn't,
Minnesota.
or Wisconsin, or Minnesota. One of those.
Somewhere.
I know people are about to kill me by not
Sorry,
knowing. Yeah,
my fault.
no. No, he was a professional wrestler.
Well, I mean, so it's wrestling and bodybuilding is. Sorry, we shouldn't be laughing at things that we don't do.
Exactly. Okay, so
Where did you get through there? How did you get that ship in there? Was there a gap there? Is that a shield?
there's a shield that got rebuilt. Exactly. The
Okay, all right.
blueprint
So
was still there.
why are you building it? That if you not build that shield, you get a lot of anti-creeper in there.
You know, you're right about that, aren't you? Let's close the editor here and oh yeah, let's just excavate. Just get rid of it.
There you go.
It's being foolish. Exactly, yeah. This ribbon right here is breeder land. It's like breeder liquid, it just doesn't move.
Oh, you
Just
need
like
to
us.
get to that stuff
I
then.
do, yeah. Over here is nothing other than a stockpile.
Do you have any pixelium? Yeah, it won't stick on this weird ribbon.
It won't stick on that, yeah, so it wouldn't matter and even if I had it.
Hey, there's the thing I want, sticky terrain.
Sticky terrain, like
Yeah, so it sticks on a vert on a
yeah,
vertical
okay.
surface.
That's a good idea, right? Yeah, so that when it
like paint. I want paint.
you want it to adhere to some and not others. So
Whenever if I want if I want it like paint, I want it wherever I put it, it stays where I put it, kind of thing.
yeah. All right, so this guy, it's finished. It just can't. I mean, the force of the anti-creeper alone is enough here.
There you go. Wow, that was the weak breeder terrain there.
It is pretty weak-ish in this map, I'm sure.
Okay.
and then that's this
Show
taking
me
it
the attributes for that, please. You can, right? You can
for
click on
this.
it. Yeah,
Yeah,
can you go to
it's
editor?
breeder. Yeah, I need a shortcut that when you're here, you can just key press or click on it and it automatically loads it. Right now, I have to actually go pick it, which
Okay,
is
pick
the
it.
breeder land. So it's rock, so it doesn't flow.
Hmm.
Blending between these two colors smoothly.
Okay.
No glow, light, no contrast edge. Does not block creeper. Creeper can flow over it. No time to live, so it doesn't expire on its own.
Hmm.
Creeper flow height is 0, so it lets creeper. This creeper blocks actually means does is it blocked by creeper. You can have sand that won't fall into creeper. It floats on top of it. That's what that creeper blocks. Creeper height is how high is it. So think of it like terrain height. It's 0, which means creeper can flow over it. If it was 2147 or max, there'll be a little max button here, then it would block all creeper from flowing over it. It doesn't have gravity, so it doesn't push on creeper that's on top of it. It does. It neither creeper doesn't damage it, and it doesn't damage creeper. They don't interact with each other at all. None of that. None of that. None of that. None of that. So,
None of lots of things. Yeah.
right. Your question is, what makes it
How strong is it? How strong is it?
what makes it breed? And that's a good question, and I think that's actually, yeah, yeah. So this is the way it is right now. I don't know if it'll keep it this way. So there are certain types that are used by units in the game and have assigned slots. So one of them is Creeper Maker. Actually, no, I'm getting ready to tell you something wrong. Right here, this business right here. So Creeper Breeder settings. They're global for that type. So that's part of the reason why is because they are. This is the way it was done in Creeper World 4, and it worked out well this way. As there's a whole set of parameters. There's a duty cycle, a max, uh, and an amount to emit on a breeder type: creeper, anti-creeper, creeper, anti-creeper. It's a matrix. It's a table of information, and packing all of that table of information into every sand particle or into the sand definition seemed to bridge too far. So there is a breeder type, and these are the settings for it.
But that's a global setting, right?
It is. So it affects. So if I come in here and affect instead of 0.2, if I make it 2, and then let's eliminate everything, clear all the anti-creeper, and put some creeper down, then it's going to make a lot more. It's going to
Okay,
produce
well,
10
you're gonna
times the
die.
amount.
Yeah. So I will tell you this. I mean, it's neither here nor there. It's just an observation that in Creeper World 4, it was possible to take each. There were slots, and you could have the same breeder, for instance, in different slots with different parameters. You don't have to do it because this is a different game. I'm just saying.
Right, right. And I
You
don't.
shouldn't say that that's because of how it worked in Creeper World 4. It didn't work this way, but it's
Right. The idea of it being a global per type,
it's fair enough.
that
You
that
have
sort of
many more
started.
types.
Yeah,
Yeah. Okay.
that's how it started in this game. Well, I'm getting look at this. It's just
Yeah, you made it too strong.
this is breeder too. It's just it's just
Yeah.
nuts. Right.
Okay. We should reset it to something else.
I'm gonna hop over to
It was a weird question. Can you, I mean, I thought that's what we've been showing the whole time, but somebody's asking, can you show particles in action?
oh, they mean yeah, they mean these things right here. These things are the third thing that I've worked on. So sand creeper obviously was there on day one when I started this game. Uh, Sand came next, and then particles show up third. And exactly how they operate and interact with sand and creeper is still yet to be determined. But nonetheless, right now, here they are with a certain visualization, and their current interaction is they are deadly to units. They're deadly to your
Okay.
ship.
Hover over all those things first for a little while so I can read all the things. Go from the top. What is the first
Okay, so
layer?
this stuff here is unstable land. It decays on its own. Think of it like radioactive. It disappears.
Okay. Decayable. So, okay.
Right up here is sand, and there's some stone, and there's some rock, and there's some land. So let me just start the mission here. I've already made a mistake, but the sand is flowed into a sort of into a stable configuration until this stuff decays. When this stuff is done decaying, all these particles are going to fly out of here, and I am going to need a way to protect myself from them. Right now, there's only one of these weapons in the game. They're already coming out over here. Let's see if I can get these. But these little ships happen to have the weapon that shoots at particles on them. Get built. Hurry up. Get built. Okay, here we go. So they'll start taking some shots and try to survive this.
There's a lot of particles.
Yeah, there's a lot. Yeah, exactly. And they're hitting the ship up here already.
And oh, yeah. Does nothing work? Can you drop anti-creeper on it or something?
Nothing else interacts right now other than these weapons. I put this ship too high to start with because they're packed up on top of it. Now he's too low.
Too high, too low.
Yeah, so you can find a spot in the middle. While he's damaged, he won't supply ammo to these. All right, heal. He needs to heal. Oh, he just got hit again. Great.
It's going to be hit for a long time there.
You know what? I can do this now. So this mechanic's not complete, obviously.
So that was interesting. Could he just pass through those when he was
He could. Particles do,
decomposed? He was particle, so he could just flow through the others.
right. That seems like an oversight, and it is, right? It's because it's just not done the interaction yet. But it's not clear that they should.
No, it's clever. It's clever. I mean, it
Right.
might be a thing that people want to do.
You can't really do anything until you materialize anyway. Just like ships in Creep World 4 that are in flight are, other than very tall waves, can escape harm, right, by flying over the creeper. In the same way, a ship that's in motion can escape harm. You just have to find some place to go, because as soon as you materialize, you're toast. And there's an actual mission down here that I'm supposed to be actually.
Let me just answer
Yeah.
one of. There's been a small YouTube conversation about mod support.
Yep.
The idea behind the game, and maybe you want to say this, we talked about this, and everything that you show is such that people could do the same and mod everything that's there. Right? That's more or less right.
Yeah, exactly. The Creeper World games and modding, it's it typically has been a little bit different than modding in other games. You're not required to go download Python, write a bunch of scripts, and then compile something or ship something that somebody else has to download and put files. I try to do as much as I can in game. So it's not just about anything that you see, from the graphics to the units to the mechanics, are changeable with scripting or configuration settings, and then those packages can be distributed and people can use them in their missions, etc. So there's nothing special about these graphics. I mean, one of the reasons I wanted to do a 2D pixelated game this time around was to make it easier for people to make custom units. That was one of the main criteria for doing it, so that somebody can draw their own ship. It's a lot harder for people to make textured models than it is to just bring up paint or whatever and draw a little image. So if I go look at the things that are here are just directories on disk that contain JSON scripts, images, etc. And down here, there's a little way that you hit a button to build any modules. It just looks on disk, finds them. You can grab those. People can share those. I may provide an online way, a more direct online way of sharing those. They can contain scripting. They can contain images. They can contain animations, which is a directory with images in it. They contain JSON, little definition files, text files that you can edit in order to create them. There are global scripts that manage mechanics that are happening that aren't tied to any one unit. So you can do things that create new enemies or new mechanics on the game, on the whole map. That's how the main menu is done, right? Let me just, if I go back here, this is a mission. And in Photoshop, I drew Creeper World X with some colors and then imported that and said, I want you to make a map from my image. And then I have a script running on this. This is a mission, so I can actually pan it around and zoom out. And up here at the top, I'm spawning Creeper at random locations so that it falls down. That's all the main menu is. I mean, I've got these things on here, just temporary things.
Yeah, they should go away. They're ugly.
Yeah. They're just for me right now.
We
But
talked about it, and you know how to. Yeah,
yeah, and then I just use sand, decayable terrain, tweak some colors to make this. And then I change some creeper physics, and I may change them yet, and I may do some other things that spawn some other units and enemies that are going to show up in the game, and to rebuild some of this stuff. All that will be done with scripting that is cleanly distributable with the game. You don't have to worry about downloading somebody else's executable content. It's scripting. It's only interpreted in the game. That's usually how mods are handled in the Creeper World games. Um, and I try to add everything I can to make it possible to do what most people want to do in the game, or
and then a whole bunch of people figure out things that you never thought about, and they do that as well.
they do. They make up whole new game modes, whole new things on. Yeah, I'm like, oh, I never thought of that. I should have, but I didn't, and glad they did. I'll try that again. Checking on the stream here, making sure everything's still going, and I haven't been talking to just me and you.
Well, I keep an eye on the chats, and if something comes up, I remind you of it. So that's fine. You're answering it. So what are you going to do now? Are you going back to do it again?
Just gonna see if I could make a better showing of this. It doesn't look like it. This is interesting. I just recently added this. When these guys are hitting the ship, they're blowing a chunk off of it. Like, let's see if we can catch it right here. And this particle might hit him. It blew a
I
chunk
see.
off, and then it
Yeah.
creates these other things, which are neither particles, nor sand, nor creeper. They're done.
Sparks.
Yeah, you can think of them that way. They're done with another particle simulator that's used primarily for visual effects originally, but they actually have game mechanics associated with them now. So these little guys that just got created internally, they can carry creeper, anti-creeper, or be told to convert into a type of sand whenever they certain conditions are met, like they hit a ship or they hit terrain or they touch creeper. So right now they don't contain anything. They're just used for visual effect, right? So they have a glow. They don't contain creeper, anti-creeper, and they're not going to turn into sand. And they have a time to live, but they fly outwards and are affected by gravity. So it's just they're being used as a visual effect to show you that the whole.
If you do this, I'm going to ask that you put a whole bunch of sound effects into the game, because I want to make every time the ship gets hit, it should cry, ow, ow, ow.
Yeah, like that one right there. That would have been a real big owl. Yep.
A big owie.
So I started this mission to try to make a better showing, and yeah. So mission accomplished. Yeah.
Very nice explosion.
Kaboom. These don't have enough to blow up. They just have enough to undo what what building part was done. This guy was actually built. He'll actually probably,
No, he's gonna die. Oh, there he goes.
yeah,
No. Oh.
maybe. There is a
Stalemate.
these particles have in this mission have an upward bias to them, so they want to float upwards. That's not that doesn't have to always be true, but that's why they're all packed against the top. And these are trapped down here. If I come down here and start to excavate, oh, they will. They'll all float upwards. Okay. So how long have I been going? Too long?
Very long. Yep.
Yeah. Okay, that's probably enough for for not even a launch of anything other than the Steam store page. Um, so yeah, that's where she is today. I've got weeks and months ahead, obviously, to expand these mechanics, test on different machines, and make up a ton of content. That takes months alone, just making content. So yeah, I will do more videos in the future, and I'll
And
try to keep the store page
you'll
updated.
put the store page and in the description so that people can go wish list it, right?
Exactly. That is the number one thing you can do to help is wishlist the game. You won't believe how important wishlisting is on Steam. It's everything. It controls when I launch the game and how much promotion the game gets when it launches. Everything depends on those wish lists. And it's not even a commitment to buy. It's just I'm interested in maybe buying it when it's released. That's what a wish list means.
Yeah, we don't take deposits.
Right. We don't. No. You can only buy it when I think it's ready to be bought. All right. So that's it. Thanks for watching.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
Bye bye.
Thanks, everybody.